Hey everyone, welcome to our live stream today. We're going to talk about TEDx talks. And a TEDx talk, if you want to land a TEDx talk, if you want to understand the benefits of TEDx talk, if you want to know the process that we use to help people land TEDx talks, that's what this chat is all about. If you have comments or questions, you can put them in the chat. We'll happily, we'll happily we can post them up here as well. My name is Bobby Omar. I'm a motivational speaker by trade. I've done 1,000 keynotes workshops across 4 continents over the last 20 years, mostly focused on leadership development. And then I became known as a personal branding expert, a networking expert, thought leadership, digital marketing, content creation, storytelling, things like that. And after I did 5 TEDx talks, and I also was invited for 3 other TEDx talks, I decided to, after the pandemic, to do training and coaching on how to land TEDx talk because people needed it. And then with me is my co-host Chris, who is he's the host of our 5-day challenge that we do, and it's coming up next week. But I thought I'd spend some time in the live stream to tell you a bit about TEDx talks, why they matter, and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll get into the barriers that people have in landing TEDx talks. And if you have questions, you can actually put in the chat box. So if you're listening to this right now, put in the chat box. Where are you from? Are you listening in from North America, South America, Asia, Africa, Europe, Australia? By all means, share. And if you have questions specifically, we'd love to hear from you. That's really what it's all about. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about what we're doing, there's a QR code there. We'll put another one later on below that gives you more information about the event we're doing next week. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But I'm going to hand over to Chris to introduce himself.
Hey, it's great to see everybody. And like Bobby said, first off, if you're coming in live with us or even on Team Replay, because we know a lot of people catch us on replay, let us know. Let us know in the comments. We'll go back and check this. Also, if you've done a TEDx, let us know that. Or if you're looking to do a TEDx, let us know that. But I'm Chris Colt, the Challenge Champion. And what I do is I help my clients get their message out to the world faster so they can make a greater impact. And we use 5-day challenges and transformative virtual events. So Bobby and I have been working together now for quite some time. We've helped a lot of people walk through his 5-day challenge. It helps you land a TEDx, your first one. So we want to really just take your questions as we go through this. And I see Andrew Chase out there. So hello, Andrew. I'll give you a shout out. So as you guys let us know you're live with us, we're going to give you some shout outs because we want to make this interactive. But you want me to start this off with some questions, Bobby? Because I got a bunch from you. And I see we got somebody from Houston, Texas on with us now. So great to see you also.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have a question for me, Chris? I can go right to questions.
Me with questions? No, I never have questions, Bobby.
Sure. Go for it.
Let's talk about this first. I think this is really important for people to understand. What made you want to help people land TEDx talks? I think that's really important for everybody who's on with us live or on replay to hear this.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, I mean, having been a speaker for many years, I can tell you how much I love being on stage, how much I love inspiring people. And when I started doing personal branding work, it was great to see people find clarity and alignment, fulfillment with their brand, and then helping people with thought leadership and content strategy. They're getting results and they're building more influence, and the people like that too. But to me, it turned out that the biggest dream people had was the TEDx talk. The TEDx talk is the culmination of everything: personal branding, speaking, storytelling, thought leadership, launching your book, launching your program, elevating who you are, and also, most importantly, inspiring people and changing lives. I mean, TEDx is all about ideas change lives, or ideas change everything. And so for me, being able to help people do that and getting that announcement, oh my God, I got a TEDx talk, like, is the greatest feeling ever. So it's win-win because I'm helping them. And the thing is, I'm actually helping them with several things. I'm helping them not only with landing a TEDx talk, I'm helping them achieve their dream, and I'm helping them with other things that come up, because most people that I talk to want help with personal branding, content strategy, thought leadership, building their business. And those are things I've been doing already for the past 20 years. So it just works out very nicely because the work you're doing in my model on TEDx will help you with your content, your book, your brand, and everything else you're trying to do. So yeah, it's a really fulfilling feel. It's better than the days when I would market and sell shredded cheese. So back in my brand marketing days, this is I'm selling a dream. I'm selling the feeling. I'm selling the impact, and there's huge impact that TEDx can give you.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at this, it is much bigger than just a TEDx talk. Most people just look like, hey, I want to land a TEDx. This is where I want to get. But like, what does that do for your brand? How does that lift your thought leadership? What does it do for your business? What does it do for your life? And quite frankly, if you're into the speaking world, what does it do for your speaking gigs? And if you're not in the speaking world, this is like a gateway right into the speaking world. So let's go into a little bit more. And like Bobby put on the bottom here, any questions, you're on live with us, please ask them. If you do get this on Team Replay, we do go back and check the comments. So if you have a few questions there, please let us know on there. But let's talk about one thing. What would you say somebody's never done a TEDx? What do you think is the first key barrier to their success that you see out there that most are not doing correctly today?
Well, before I get to the barrier, actually, let's start with the basic barrier, which is the mindset piece. Do I deserve a TEDx talk? Who am I? I can't. I haven't even thought about doing one, and they have all these different mindset barriers that hold them back, and that's kind of a basic thing. Now, I'm not really looking to. I'm not looking for those types of people. I'm looking for people who are established business owners, established founders, established C-suite level, director level people who have been around for 20 years and have a lot of experience and want to do a good job. Not saying I don't work with teenagers, but I have seasoned speakers, people who have a message for the world, people who want to elevate and 10x exactly what they're doing. But the mindset piece is, well, who am I? But the truth is, look, TEDx is not about your status, your achievement, or experience. It's about your story and your idea, and will it help people? And so there are 10-year-olds who have done TED Talks. There are 18-year-olds who've done 4 TEDx Talks. I've done 5 TEDx Talks, but like there are young people who've done this. So you can do that by having the right story and idea. So I think that's the first thing, that mindset piece. And the other thing too is like, yeah, but I don't have an idea. Well, that's fine. Listen, 60% of people I talk to don't have an idea. The other 40% typically have a lead idea they're kind of passionate about, like I want to talk about AI, or I want to talk about climate change, or I want to talk about this personal story of resilience, and that's fine. But most people don't. So there's a way to kind of figure that out, and that's kind of related to what I did in the speaker world, which was when I helped people become paid speakers. We looked at, okay, what are the different topics you want to talk about, and and we would come up with 3 topics that would align with who you are. And so it's a very simple. So that first mindset piece is really important, and then I think that the other thing I want to talk about is let's talk about the benefits of TEDx, because number one, TEDx has a brand that instantly positions you as a storyteller, a speaker, an expert, an authority in your field, as someone who landed something that someone that's accomplished, someone that is seen as a thought leader. So those things are really, really good. It's great PR for you and your brand. I mean, I can tell you that when I landed my first TEDx, like I said, of the 5 TEDx talks, the first TEDx talk I landed, I remember what happened. As soon as that happened, my speaker fee jumped 2.5 times. My number of speaking gigs increased by 40% that year. This is from the first one, not even the first 4 or 5, the first one. And the other thing happened when people wanted me to consult or coach them, and my coaching and consulting fee doubled as well. So it definitely had a huge impact on my business. It can also have an impact on your career as well, because if you're seen as a thought leader and you have that credibility around TEDx, it's going to lead to promotions. It's going to lead to opportunities. People are going to see you with an elevated status. And so for me, there's lots of benefits to that. The other thing about TEDx is really interesting is that people love TEDx. There's great stories, great inspiration, and so it's an easy thing to leverage and ramp up for yourself. So one of the things I often talk about is that there's different ways to ramp up and elevate your thought leadership, right? So if you want to become a thought leader or a business owner and well known in your field, then I think that there are a few ways to do that. One is paid advertising. Another one is networking and building your relationships, in person or online. Another one is to have a content strategy where you're sharing your knowledge and starting conversations. Another one is to launch a program and eventually sell it and get testimonials. Another one is to launch a book, right? These are all things that people do. And of course, the biggest one that I think is important is speaking. You go to a conference on a panel, you go online on media and you sit on a panel, you do an interview, you do a podcast. Speaking is one of the best ways to do it. And what I can tell you is that of all those ways to elevate and 10x your brand, TEDx is the best one to 100x your brand. Here's why. Number one, it is the shortest amount of time invested to do so. So it's about 20 to 40 hours of time to land a TEDx talk. Writing a book, I've written 2 books, hundreds of hours. Launching a content strategy, you're talking like, 18 months, hundreds of hours. And so it's a longer process. Developing a program, much, much longer. With the 5-day challenge we've developed, we've spent hundreds of hours developing this thing, as you know. Click the QR code to learn more about it, but we've spent lots of hours. So 20 to 40 hours land a TEDx talk. Also, the shortest timeline. So it's 3 to 9 months, right? So, if you pitch today, you can get a TEDx talk. I mean, you could theoretically get one, a month, but it's around 3 to 6 months. Every TEDx event looking for speakers 3 to 6 months in advance. Okay, so I say 3 to 9 months is kind of the timeline, but still a shorter timeline than developing a program and taking time to get testimonials and clients. A shorter timeline with a book launch strategy and things like that. So it's the shortest amount of time invested. It's the shortest timeline for the greatest amplification. Because when you're trying to amplify your program that costs money, it's hard. When you're trying to amplify that book and people may not want to buy it, that's hard. But TEDx, they're like, hey, I love TEDx. I'll share the link because it's free. Like, it's just a video and it's short and sweet, so it's very easily digestible content. So for me, there's lots of huge benefits. And once you have that TEDx talk, what happens is you're going to get more website traffic, more leads, more opportunities. People see you in a greater light. And when you reach out to people, you're more memorable and you're more likely to get people to say yes to you on things. So I found that TEDx was a game changer for me if you do it right. I mean, you can launch a book and you can do a TEDx talk, but you have to learn how to leverage it. But to me, TEDx is absolutely the most important thing. So that to me is the biggest benefits of TEDx talk.
So you mentioned something key in there, if you do it right. And I think that's a key thing that you just said there, because anybody, a lot of people just think, hey, I could Google this, I could go get on one of these things. Let's talk about actually what it actually takes to. I have this idea in my head. Now I'm like, you know what? I want to get this message out to the world. I want to land on that TEDx stage, and then I want to see the amplification that Bobby just talked about on the back end of this. Let's kind of walk a little bit through that so people actually understand what this takes from start to finish.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that, and that kind of relates to the challenge too. But I think the general process is that you need to know where the TEDx events are. You need to have a really good idea. You need to know how to pitch, and you need to also, and everything else is a bonus, right? So everything else you have, like if you have a strong brand, great. If you have strong relationships, great. If you have a strong thought leadership brand out there and digital content out there, great. If you have multiple ideas, great. These are all things that add meat to and higher probability to what you're trying to do. But ultimately, it's the idea, find the events, and pitching it, right? That's the most important thing. The best thing you can do is come up with an amazing idea. And I tell you, most people that send me ideas, they don't have good ideas. Like, they're very broad. I want to talk about resilience. I want to talk about love. I want to talk about the power of sales. I want to talk about overcoming barriers. I mean, those are very broad topics. And I'm not saying they're bad topics.
Right.
But what TEDx wants is they want something more specific, more honed in. And I think that goes a long way. And so I put up here in the QR code another thing I have, which is the free downloadable template, which basically, excuse me, it turns your idea, or sorry, your story into a TEDx idea. So the template that allows you to kind of take your story, your life story, whatever your story of your life, and how to turn it into a really good TEDx idea. So that's a free downloadable template you can look at. If you're interested in looking at it, you totally can. But again, I think that if you want to learn more about what we're doing, the 5-day challenge is the way to go. And here's the 5-day challenge. I mean, what's happening? We're starting this next week. Basically, a 1 hour a day with me, 1 hour a day with me, with replays, and you meet all the other attendees. And the goal here is I'm going to take you through my models, my processes. I'm going to workshop you 10% of the way to the TEDx. That's my goal. And I'm going to show you how I work. I'm going to show you how the system works. I'm going to show you how my process is guaranteed. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. You'll meet the other people as well. You meet Chris, and he does a really good job of running the show and running the challenge. But it's a lot of fun. And the work I do is also going to show you. I'm going to show you also how the models for what I'm doing will help you with personal branding, content strategy, storytelling, speaking, and thought leadership. So it's all part of that process because they're all interrelated. So I encourage you to check out the challenge and see if you're interested. And I mean, just read it, watch the videos. If you don't want it, don't take it. But if you want it, like, the value you're going to get for $100 is unbelievable. Why is $100? I want people some skin in the game. I don't want, like, I used to do this for free. And then Chris, because he's the challenge champion, said, Bobby, stop doing stuff for free. Because what would happen was I'd have 100 people sign up, and then there'd be like 40 people the first day, then 20, then 10, and it pretty much down to like 3. And then, it wasn't, and they wouldn't do the work. And it's like, okay, like, what's the point of that? So $100, I charge $500 an hour for my consulting. So you're getting $100 with me for 5 days, 1 hour each day, plus I'll ask you all your questions. Like, that's a good value. And at the end of the day, if you want to do the work, great. All power to you, man. And the other thing I'll say is that there's a VIP bonus when you sign up. It's a $300 upsell where if you want, you get an extra 1 hour consult with me afterwards. And I throw in this really awesome resource, which is 2,600 TEDx events around the world, including location, dates, and links. That's going to help you save a lot of time. So, but if you have questions on stuff, I put them in the chat. I want to hear what you have to say. I'm happy to share more about what we're talking about today, but let's keep going. And maybe I kind of laid out the process, and I see some people are chatting here. Let me just see.
Hey, Bobby. I think that's our LinkedIn user from Houston. So if you want to just hit that other button that I had you set up beforehand, it'll drop you right in the comments.
Yeah, okay, let's go back here. And
so we don't know who that is from Houston because you have to include LinkedIn to do it.
Yeah. So now we just shared the link in the comments. So you should be able to see it, and then we're happy, and you can take a look at that. All right.
And you can also hit this QR code sitting below me right here, that one, and that'll bring it up for you also. So let's go through a little bit of, because you've helped a lot of people land TEDx, and I think this is important for people to understand this part of things, because when you do what Bobby does, there's this, like, you all of you on here have some kind of passion, some type of mission, something that's going to fire you up inside. And I know from working with Bobby over a couple of years now, the fire he gets when he gets the text, I just landed my TEDx. So somebody's on this live right now or this replay who's thinking of doing a TEDx, who's about to hit the button to join our challenge, right? And we've brought people through this process. So Lola, thank you, Lola. So now we know going forward. So let's talk about the moment when somebody starts from here and then all of a sudden lands in our challenge, and then all of a sudden lands on a TEDx. What does that feel like for you, Bobby, doing this?
Well, I mean, look, helping people achieve a big goal like that, it's often a legacy goal, a lifelong goal, a bucket list goal. So that's an amazing feeling. When they, when they send me the messages, text, WhatsApp, email, everyone's kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like, they're super, super excited about it. And I love seeing it. I mean, I love seeing clients having the success. And then even better, they're able to leverage the journey and this to elevate their brand, elevate their thought leadership, and be able to do more things. Whether it's, because the truth is, most people that I work with on TEDx, and one of the things I can tell you is that I love doing TEDx because it culminates all my experience in storytelling, speaking, and everything else. And so you're not just getting a TEDx expert, you're getting an expert in all those other areas as well. And what I love about it is, it's one of my 3 main things I do. Like, it's a big part of my focus to help people. When they ping me, I'm messaging, I'm supporting them, I'm answering their questions, and I love it. And so it's just a great. But also, what happens is every single person I work with, typically I work with them. They have 3 goals, right? One goal is I want a TEDx talk. What else is your goal? Well, another goal is I want to build my business. Okay, I'll show you how TEDx can do that. I want to launch a book. Okay, I'll show you how TEDx can do that. I want to build my content strategy. Great, I'll show you how the process for TEDx will help you launch a content strategy. I want to get clarity in my personal brand. Great, let me show you how the process works. Because what I found, and it's all based on what we call the life story. The life story is a model I've been using for personal branding, for content strategy, for thought leadership building, and also for TEDx. Because I think, and it can even help with your book or coaching programs you want to do. So that to me is why it's so awesome. So So I think that you can learn more about what we're doing and check it out and see what you think about it. But maybe we should get into the barriers.
Yeah, let's talk about a few barriers. I mean, we covered quite a few of them, but I'm new, know nothing about TEDx, but I know I've seen the value. What would you say let's just go through the 3 barriers we're going to talk about. What's the first one we want to talk about here?
Well, I think the first barrier, and I'll have 3, but I also have a bonus barrier.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
Remind me that at the end, okay? So the first barrier is really, I can't come up with the right idea talk, topic, or title. Coming up with the right idea, topic, or title is very, very difficult, and or difficult for a lot of people without support. So we have to show people how to do that, because the truth is, if you want a TEDx talk, then you have to come up with a really amazing, amazing idea. And particularly the title, that idea and title is what's going to get people's attention. That's what's really going to roll, and people are going to really appreciate that. So you want to make sure that your idea and title is great. And with that, I mean, I did some work with Chris on what he's doing. Why don't you share with them your title and topic of your talk?
Yeah, so my title's Broken Bike, Unbroken Spirit, and there's a whole story behind that. It's kind of funny. We did this about, I don't know, 6-7 months ago. I'm like, Bobby, let's just kind of high level build out my TEDx talk, and that's what it became, a Broken Bike, Unbroken Spirit. And it involves a bike race where my bike seat broke. I was in first place, and I decided to just stand on that bike for the next 44 miles, which is over almost 2.5 hours, and still place in the top 12 out of like 70 people. And there's so much I can take out of that lesson in life and share a story that'll impact a lot of people. And Bobby said something about mindset. For me, it was kind of like, will this resonate with people? Will people listen to it? Well, guess what? The more I started putting it out there in public, people wanted to hear it. People were asking questions. So if you're sitting on here, the first thing Bobby talked about is mindset. You are worthy. You have a message the world needs to hear. And I just want to make sure you're aware of that. But that was a fun exercise we did, Bobby. And it's something that you start to do in the 5-day challenge, right? We take it to a different level on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you have ideas now, I'll tell you what I think about them. Just put them in the chat, right? Ask your questions, guys. I'm going to answer questions here since I'm here. I might as well. So I think that, and also Broken Bike, Unbroken Spirit, that's a fantastic title, because first off, it's really short. Most TEDx Talk titles, it's shorter than any of the ones I've had. Well, actually, no, my shortest one was the 5 C's of connection. So that's 5 C's. But Broken Bike, Unbroken Spirit is perfect, because Broken Bike, that's the story. Unbroken Spirit, that's the lesson. Very, very concise, very, very good. My 5th TEDx talk was, could you change a person's life in 20 seconds? And the idea is you create intrigue. What is he talking about? What's this all about? Wow, I want to know how that works. So I think you have to understand how to create a really good title, but a title that's compelling. So that's the biggest challenge. Now, how do we do that? Well, there's the process I do is my goal is we go through your life story, bullet point lots of cool ideas and stories, and from that we vet and we validate through your network, through surveys, through my head and your heart, and we come up with 3 TEDx top topics. Not one. I'm going to help you get 3. One that's based on your personal expertise, one that's based on your personal story, and one that's based on something strategic in terms of who you are and what you're trying to do with your objectives in your life. And so those are 3 topics we then would then pitch. So to me, that's the first barrier, coming up with a really good topic and title for that.
And a lot of people might think that's a simple process, Bobby. It's not. I mean, I've watched you in action. I've watched you help people live in the challenge, and I've watched you help people in your mastery program. And it really gets you thinking, especially when I've seen people come in, here's my idea, and all of a sudden they leave with 3 ideas because Bobby opens that up out of them, right? We all have something in us. And here's the thing about what Bobby does, and this is almost anything. We're too into our own stuff, and you need outside eyes on it. You need outside eyes on it to really see how you can get to the next level. So let's transition into the second barrier that you see out there.
Yeah, so I think the second barrier that people have is they don't know where to start or who to talk to, right? Where do I find TEDx events? Who do I talk to? What's the process? How does it work? I mean, dispelling a lot of myths. One person said, well, I don't want to do a TED Talk. I want a TED Talk. And I was like, look, those are 2 different things. You have to understand how the process works. TED Talks are for people like presidents of a country, or presidents of a billion-dollar company, or a story that's so powerful and compelling they invite you there. So Brené Brown, for example, very, very powerful TEDx talk on vulnerability. Simon Sinek, very, very powerful TEDx talk on Start with the Why. But they were TEDx talks that were so great, they were then invited to the TED stage. That's how it works. Okay, so you have to understand that process, right? And some people are like, well, I'm waiting for them to reach out to me. Well, that's not how it works. They don't reach out to you. You have to apply. They're like, I'm not paying for it. No, you don't have to pay. You just have to put together a great pitch and apply it. So knowing the process goes a long way. And, building relationships goes a long way. Like, learning, finding people who are speakers, people who are TEDx organizers, people who are part of the volunteer community, people who are in the TEDx universe. Building those relationships will go a long way to meet people and see who they are. Like, I've met other TEDx organizers and they invited me to their events, and it ended up potentially leading to landing a TEDx talk. And so I think that's an important piece to know the process and how it works and where to start. And so I'll guide you on how to find TEDx talks, how to find the right people, and how to kind of go through that process. So that's the second barrier, because people don't know. And I think that's why we developed a 57-page curriculum for the program that I have, because it's step by step everything you need to do.
Yeah.
And then let's see. And again, if you have any other questions, guys, feel free to check it out. If you want to learn more about, what we're doing, this is live stream. Look, I do a lot of TEDx stuff. So we do a live stream usually once a month. I do a free webinar once a month, and then I have this 5-day challenge, which is basically a paid thing, but it's a hell of a good deal. $100 to get access to me and Chris for 5 days, 1 hour each day, with replays, and the other people that are running on the TEDx journey with you. It's very motivating, it's very inspiring, it's very moving. We go through your story, we learn a lot together. So I encourage you to check out the QR code and just click more and learn more about it. Okay. Let's get to the third barrier.
Third one, number 3. Yep.
The third barrier is essentially you pitched TEDx, but you didn't hear back or you didn't get it. So I hear from a lot of people, I pitched just someone just messaged me just 2 days ago, and they said, I pitched to some place in Chicago, but I didn't hear back. Great, let's talk. I can get on a call and tell you exactly what happened. But the truth is, the third barrier is not having the right pitch. You have to optimize and maximize the pitch, because they're going to ask you a whole bunch of questions. And oftentimes they're going to ask you a dozen questions, and sometimes quite detailed. But sometimes the answer has to be very concise, and you have to be able to answer and optimize the application. So for me, the third biggest barrier is make sure you optimize the application and answer the question in a way that exactly what they want to hear. That is, to me, the other big thing that's going to go a long way for you. And this even works for people who have done a TEDx talk and want more, because look, having one TEDx talk was great. Having 5 is even better, because it's essentially it's like being a 5-time best-selling author or a 5-time Grammy winner, right? Like it's definitely more credibility. So there's some people like, hey, I did a TEDx talk, 5-10 years ago, but it was just kind of happenstance. I wanted another one. How do we do it? And so we help them with the application process.
Yeah, and I mean the application process. I'm starting to go through that, and I can see there's a lot more than you actually realize in that, and it's all the things you set up beforehand. And I think you were asking me to remind you on this, and I actually have 2 other barriers that we'll see.
Okay.
We're going to see if you hit them both when I ask you this, though. You said to mention the focus barrier. Okay, the focus barrier. So let's talk about that. So these are bonus barriers here that we're going to talk about.
The bonus barrier time. Okay.
Yeah.
So so I would say for me the bonus barrier is, I think we're on the same page. I was saying the accountability, because look, like I'm on a weight journey. I'm trying to get healthier. I'm trying to lose weight and get more fit and healthy, right? So my coach says, okay, Bobby, here's the food plan. Here's the gym plan, the fitness plan. Now chop to it. Now, if I decide to not eat well and have 3 cheat days per week, and I decide to go to the gym once a week, is that going to work? I mean, hardly. If I do what they say, which is go to the gym 3 to 4 times per week and eat healthy every day with maybe 1 cheat day, then I'm going to have better success. And so I think I said earlier in this conversation that the amount of time to land TEDx talk is about 20 to 40 hours of time. So you got to put the time in, right? If you do 4 hours a week, you'll be done in 8 weeks, right? So you got to put the time in, right? I think that's the challenge. Like, so being accountable to doing the work. I mean, you can't get anything without doing the work. What I can tell you is that, and this is where people say, Bobby, how can you guarantee a TEDx talk? Here's the catch. Every single person who's followed my methodology has landed a TEDx talk. Every single person who hasn't landed a TEDx talk comes back 6 months later with excuses. They'll say, hey, Bobby, I didn't get a TEDx talk. what's going on, man? You promised. I said, fine. You want? Let's show me your application template for the 3 TEDx talk ideas. Well, I only have 2 TEDx talk ideas, and I only made an application for one of them, and I didn't really finish. Okay, well then you didn't do the work. The goal is 3 TEDx talk ideas, 3 full application templates. Like do that, do the work. Show me your pitch. Well, I haven't really fully fleshed it out. Well, that's why you're not getting TEDx talks. You're not doing the work. You got to do the work. And I think related to that accountability is, which I think goes to the focus piece, which is how do you stay focused? And I think most of us, I mean, I have ADHD, and it's hard to stay focused.
Yeah,
But the best way to stay focused, less than 10% of people can do stuff on their own. Less than 10% can go on their own and lose the weight and work out on their own without any sort of support. Less than 10% people can pass an MCAT, pass a GMAT, pass those standardized tests without support or taking a course, or you're passing the bar exam, whatever it might be. I used to pass an engineering exam back in the day. I took a course. I worked with people. Like I needed help, right?
Yep.
And so, because most people need that, they need that accountability. So I think getting a coach, having a community, group coaching can go a long way to helping you become more accountable and setting that up. But even then, like it's still hard. So be like, well, hey, what happened? Did you book a thing? No, I forgot. I skipped it. Being accountable and having that focus is incredibly difficult. And that's why, we've tried to design as many systems as we can to make sure you have every single possibility of support you could have.
I mean, and you hit the nail on the head when you said the focus barrier. I was like, my next one was going to be if you didn't go into accountability, and I think that's like you said, anything. You want to lose weight, you want to build a business, you want to increase your sales, you want to do whatever. If you are not holding yourself accountable, and that's one of the beautiful things I love about what you're doing is you're holding your people accountable, and the ones that are staying accountable, guess what? You're saying, look, I got the text today. Look who got a text today. Boom. So, I mean, it's really, really critical. So we encourage you, Bob, want to put that back up, Bobby? Well, you can hit either over here, whoop, above Bobby.
I'll put one below too. So
there's that QR code right here. And you get to spend 5 hours with Bobby and I next week, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern to 12:30 p.m., where Bobby's going to guide you through this process, step by step. You get to interact, get your questions answered, all those great things. We do a pre-challenge call on Friday, this upcoming Friday.
Yeah, we're doing that too. That's a bonus, right?
Yeah, that's a bonus. But you know what's awesome about that? You get to meet the other attendees that can come in here. You get a little extra time. It's going to be a 30-minute call, short, right to the point, to kick you off for the weekend. And then next week, you have us all week. You get access to the replays nonstop. So you always have those replays. There's a community page. It's a very interactive challenge. It's called a challenge for a reason. You don't just show up and put your feet up and say, this is good information. This is not about information. This is about transformation. And we're going to help you transform through the week. And you're going to walk away with topics, ideas, frameworks, and ways to move forward for your TEDx. So why don't we wrap this up, Bobby, unless we see any questions popping in there. What would be your final statement to close us out here?
Well, I mean, I think that, again, look, TEDx is something that can definitely elevate in 10x and 100x your brand and thought leadership. And so, and the work done on a TEDx talk will help you with a book, a podcast, content strategy, personal branding, and everything else. So I think that there's lots of great. I'll show you the models in the program. When you want to take when you take a look. I think so for me, and anyone could do a TEDx talk. It's just a question of making the most of it and taking it and using it to help you with your business, with your brand, with your career, with with book deals, with doing more paid speaking and things like that. I can tell you that it changed my life, and I'm sure it can change yours. And I'm fully invested in helping you change your lives and for the better, and doing all the different ways of doing it. So, so I think the challenge is going to be, and again, a very easy way for you to to take advantage. And I do want to mention one thing, which was that a lot of people, I can't go 5 days. Well, you don't have to. I mean, there are people who've taken who bought the program and then they don't even show up anything, watch the replays, they ask questions in our community group, and next thing you know, they're off and running. So, like that's fine too. Or if you make 1 or 2 of the days, or 3 or 4 of the days, that's okay. Like you can still take advantage, because what'll happen is you'll get a replay each night, and you can see what we've done, and you can see the other people they've done, the workshopping, and there's a community group where you can ask questions and get feedback on stuff. Chris, maybe you can tell a bit more about what happens in the 5-day challenge, because you're the 5-day challenge champion. So tell us a bit about that and why it's so awesome. Why does it work?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a roadmap, there's a framework, there's a blueprint laid out in front of you day by day. So each day we give you something, like obviously you're going to be with us, so we're going to walk you through this, but each day we move you forward a little bit, just a tiny bit. So like you're starting, I'm an endurance cyclist, so if I want to do a bike race, I start over here. We're going to get you now, the bike race ends here, okay? We're going to get you to about right about there, but enough to give you the confidence that you want to land on a TEDx stage. So you'll have your idea mapped out. You'll have, an opportunity to role play and talk that idea through with Bobby. I'll tell you, Wednesday is always, every day is great to challenge, but Wednesday is my favorite day because the attendees that are on live with us that play full out start to open up and share their story because they're comfortable by then. They know everybody. And we get those who really, really just sit there and share their story. And we've had tears in this event. I will never deny that, but good tears. And we've had this community, I like to call it a micro community, encourage each other. So what I want to just say is each day we're walking you through this step by step. Bobby has a great framework. You can see it on the landing page, what we cover each day. And we're going to walk you through that.
It's a proven framework.
And it's a proven framework. Yeah, we've been doing this challenge now. We're on a year and change on this challenge. So we've consistently done this. We've enhanced it a little bit, and we have prizes too, but you have to be in the challenge to win those prizes. One of them is a $2,000 prize towards Bobby's larger program. Bobby has a mastery program that he, brings people into and brings through. So you'll get, somebody's going to win that. And we'll make that a lot of fun on how you could potentially win that.
Awesome. Yeah. So look, I mean, it's up to you. You have to take the first step. Everything to change your life, to change your business, change your brand, change your opportunities, elevating your thought leadership and doing more paid speaking, doing more media appearances, launching that book, building that content strategy, having a clear brand, creating an impact. It starts with you. You got to start. And look, all I'm saying is click the link, the QR code, and just watch it. I mean, look at some of the testimonial videos, see what you think. You don't have to take it, but I'm just telling you, like, you're getting way more value than anything else I'm doing. Okay, because you're getting me for 5 days, 1 hour each day. Plus, there's going to be a community group and I'll answer questions. Like, you're going to get me. So you're going to take advantage of that. We only do this every couple of months, and don't wait, because remember, if you're trying to get a TEDx talk, it's a 3 to 9 month process. So people who are doing the challenge in March, the earliest we'll get you a TEDx talk would be June. Otherwise, we're really gunning for the fall or early 2026. So that's the process, right? But you want to get going, and the work you're going to do is complementary to the work you're doing on your brand, your content strategy, your website, your book, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, click the link and check that out. And if you have any other questions, by all means, ping me or Chris. You can DM us on LinkedIn anytime. You can check out the website, and we're happy to help people, because listen, the best time to start is now, and cultivate and plant those seeds. And I'm really happy to help people build their dreams, because TEDx talks can really inspire people. They change lives. The TEDx is all about ideas change everything. And when I say everything, they mean they change people, they change you, they change the world, they change your business. And so that's why people do it. So start today. So with that, thanks so much for being here. Thanks, Chris, for being my co-host with the Mo host. Thanks for that. Thanks for everybody for listening to it. Click the QR code, and we'll start the pre-call on Friday, and then the challenge starts next week. And you can always look us up on our websites, on LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else. This is streaming everywhere. So wherever you see this, the best place to find us is LinkedIn for sure. But we are in other places as well, and you can just have to ping us or DM us. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, guys. Great having you today.
Okay. Bye.